In January 2025, a secret letter leaked from Washington, D.C. shook the African continent. It was not a request, not a negotiation, it was an ultimatum. The letter, reportedly sent from the highest offices of power in the United States, carried a chilling message to one of Africa's poorest yet richest nations. Surrender 70% of your gold reserves, or face the consequences. The target was Burkina Faso, a landlocked nation with one of the world's richest deposits of gold, a nation struggling with poverty, yet sitting on billions of dollars worth of untapped treasure. But this was not the first time Africa had been asked to hand over its wealth. This was just the latest chapter in a story centuries old. What followed was a story of resistance, courage, betrayal, and hope. A story that would change the course of Africa's future. This is the story of the Gold War 2025, the day Africa defied the West and said no. To understand why Burkina Faso refused the ultimatum, we must travel back in time. Africa's struggle against Western exploitation did not begin in 2025. It began centuries ago with slavery, colonization, and economic domination. When colonial powers first arrived, they took men and women as slaves. When slavery ended, they took land. When land reforms failed, they took resources. And in the modern world, they took money through loans, debts, and interest rates designed to keep nations trapped forever. Countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, rich in gold, uranium, and oil, remained among the poorest on Earth. Why? Because the system was designed that way. Even when leaders tried to rise, they were eliminated. Patrice Lumumba in Congo, Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso, and of course, Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. Gaddafi's dream was a United States of Africa, backed by a gold-based currency that would free Africa from the Western financial system. But in 2011, NATO bombs silenced that dream. Gaddafi was gone, and Africa learned a painful lesson. Whoever challenges the system is destroyed. But in 2025, a new generation of leaders was ready. And this time, they would not be silenced. In Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, the air was tense. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the 36-year-old revolutionary leader, sat with his top advisors. On the table lay the ultimatum from the West. They had 48 hours to respond. Some ministers argued surrender was the only way. If we refuse, sanctions will crush us. Our people are already hungry. Do we want war with the most powerful nations on Earth? Others argued resistance. If we give them our gold today, tomorrow they will take our land. If we bow now, our children will never stand again. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Traoré. He rose and spoke with calm, but firm words. Our ancestors died with dignity rather than live in chains. We will not sell our future for fear of today. If they want war, let them come, but we will not kneel. And with that decision, history was made. As the ultimatum expired, something unexpected began to happen. Across the Sahel region, whispers of solidarity turned into a roar. Niger, Mali, and Guinea, three nations facing the same pressure, reached out to Traoré. They understood the stakes. If Burkina Faso fell, they would be next. Within weeks, the Alliance of Sahel States was born. It was not just a military pact, it was a declaration of independence from centuries of exploitation. Leaders met in secret bunkers, drafting plans to protect their gold, secure their borders, and resist foreign pressure. Their combined strength was modest compared to NATO, but their determination was unshakable. For the first time in decades, African nations were uniting not under the influence of foreign powers, but against them. In Paris, Washington, and London, panic spread. The intelligence reports were clear. If these nations succeeded in forming an independent financial bloc, it would inspire others across the continent. In Beijing and Moscow, however, opportunity emerged. China offered infrastructure projects in exchange for partnership. Russia promised weapons and military training. The West branded Traoré and his allies as dictators, terrorists, and destabilizers. But across African youth networks on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook, a different narrative was going viral. Memes celebrated Traoré as the African Che Guevara. Videos compared him to Sankara, Lumumba, and Gaddafi. Hashtags like #Africa Rises and #Gold. War trended worldwide. This was not just a geopolitical conflict anymore. It had become a battle for the soul of Africa. Western sanctions soon followed. Aid was cut off. Banking channels were frozen. International media painted apocalyptic pictures of hunger and chaos. Yet on the ground, something remarkable happened. Instead of collapsing, people in Burkina Faso began to rally. Farmers shared food across villages. Youth militias volunteered to protect borders. Local gold miners refused to sell to foreign companies and instead stockpiled reserves for